24-hour, round-the-clock news capitalizes on fear, creating more frenzy, and as the world is in disarray, there was one release that gave a much-needed respite. Animal Crossing. I've had a love for Animal Crossing since I was really young. I remember the first time I saw the game was because my brother got me a copy of Animal Crossing on GameCube for one of my early birthdays. Growing up as a mostly antisocial kid that loved games, Animal Crossing was a breath of fresh air from what I was used to. I had played a good handful of games before that fateful day. You see, my entire family has a love for games either in one way or another. I grew up watching my brothers raid in World of Warcraft, or sat there in awe as they rolled people on Counter-Strike. Some of my oldest memories are of games that I played growing up, and special moments that I hold close because of gaming. Animal Crossing was entirely different from the games I had been playing at the time. Everyone was looking at Halo and Call of Duty's newest releases, for there was one issue when I first got this game, and that can be seen here. And as you can see on this chart here, was when I was born, and here's the date that Animal Crossing came out. You might have made the observation that that's a short period of time. And although the rating for Animal Crossing is E for everyone, and that is one thing that most people would understand, I couldn't read. Yeah, this might not work. But I was around 4 years old by this point. I couldn't read, and Animal Crossing had a lot of questions and such that asks off the bat. I ended up shelving the game for the most part, only playing a little bit after my siblings helped me set it up, so I could run around the town. I eventually heard about the release of Wild World for the DS and was beyond excited. Animal Crossing on DS was a dream. I could play the game and understand it by this point. I got sucked in completely, and the first time I heard about cheats in games was because of Animal Crossing. At first it was only time traveling. See, I may have been older, but I didn't have a great understanding of economics by this point. Can I pay with this? And my buddy Nook over here was starting to get antsy, looking for his loan to get paid off quickly. I did what I had to do. I tried to skip town, but my DS would eventually die and I would be taken back. I needed money to upgrade the house. I started to time travel through the different seasons to see all the events, and using an old Animal Crossing message board to trade friend codes. I came across a YouTube video on those message boards one day, showing off this attachment for a DS that boasted it could solve all my problems on Animal Crossing. What might it be called, you may be asking? Action Replay. Growing up, I knew about things like the Game Genie or Game Shark, but never had one for a console myself at this point. Most consoles were moving over a disc, but this had everything I needed. I actually remember the first time getting it, it was sold at my local GameStop, and I remember how I found it weird that I had to load my cheats onto it myself at this point. Now that I think about it, that was false advertising. Whatever. Animal Crossing on Wii was a blast, and a breath of fresh air seeing its next step on console. One to show that the game had legs to stay on both platforms. The City Folk and Microphone were surprising additions to this otherwise isolated series. Animal Crossing was, and still is, a game that doesn't get worried about the player getting bored. There's a peacefulness that always surrounds the game, a carefree attitude where we're all just walking around enjoying the moments and conversations with these characters, getting to decorate our houses the exact way we wanted to at that moment. I was never really good at it though. Animal Crossing New Leaf, on the other hand, released in 2012 on the 3DS, and this was the first time we saw Isabelle. New additions came to this game as you took on the role of mayor over this town, getting to decorate and change things down to the behaviors of the villagers. Also, can I just point out, Nintendo took this feature out with New Horizons, and I would love to see this come back in some way. I always played the game late at night, and although there was a ton to do, if I ever really wanted to play more, I had to wait until morning to sell things I caught, or buy the new tools in the shop. And changing the town time that I closed down was a feature that I absolutely loved and would love to see it reintroduced. All in all, Animal Crossing has been a game that is a relaxing time in a town, surrounded by a wholesomeness, a place where you can create the ideas of a perfect house, or filling out a museum of insects and fish. An escape from the worries of the real world. You can run around befriending the villagers and sharing the experience with other players, and that was what everyone needed in 2020. People wanted to hang out and socialize, We were holed up and Nintendo hit it big with their timing on release. Animal Crossing had been delayed on Switch before, and landed itself a release right in the middle of March. Combined with the fact that most people were going into lockdown and the social possibilities of Animal Crossing on Switch, it was a recipe for success. Animal Crossing let you relax and sit there and take the game at whatever pace you wanted. You can play for as long as you want, and when you're done with it, or if you have something else you have to do, you can get up and leave. It's a peaceful game that is exactly that, a game where you can relax in while you play. The game isn't scared of you saying, I'm done for the day and turning it off. It was the first time I started to see that not all games had to be competitive in some form. Some could just be relaxing. Alright. Yeah, I saved before I turned that off. Well, shit. I will say, Rossetti was my arch nemesis growing up. I had no idea how saving worked when I was a kid, and when I was playing on GameCube, I often had him popping up outside my door, holding me in a prison of not being able to play my own game. I genuinely think with the series coming to Switch, it proves the point that this game is perfect for the console, and truly shows off just how welcoming Switch and gaming as a whole can be for those who are not playing games. Animal Crossing is a gateway to the whole other side of gaming, one that I had not realized even existed when I first started playing. You can have a good time and relax while playing a game, and as much as I love shooters and multiplayer games, I always find myself coming back to games like Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley for a relaxed stroll through a mix of nostalgia and relaxation. I really hope you guys liked it. I am trying to work on this next video talking about shooters, which there's some really cool things there. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please subscribe and leave a comment. I really appreciate all the support, and thank you. Peace. I'm gonna go play some Animal Crossing.